The night it all started, rain slammed against the windows of Rachel Miller's home like fists begging to be let in. But the real storm was inside, silent, suffocating, and shaped like the man she had married. Huddled on the bathroom floor with the light off and her back pressed to the tub, Rachel whispered into the burner phone she kept hidden behind the sink's loose panel. Her fingers trembled as she held the cheap plastic device to her ear. "I think he's going to kill me," she said. "He told me I'd end up like them." "Like who?" asked Detective Natalie Ruiz, trying to steady the panic she heard in the young woman's voice. "His wives," Rachel whispered. "Jessica, Amanda, Melissa, all dead. All accidents. But I looked into it. No autopsies. No questions. Just gone." Rachel Miller was 28, right? Resourceful. But in the last year, she had learned how easy it was to disappear without ever leaving home. She met Richard Harlan 2 years ago at a grief counseling group. He was charming but humble. His words gentle, his pain believable. He told the group he'd lost his wife Jessica in a tragic car accident. The second wife, Amanda, had drowned during a hiking trip. The third wife, Melissa, had fell from the staircase and died. 3 women, 3 deaths, 3 different states. No foul play suspected. Rachel had just lost her mother to cancer. She was alone, vulnerable, looking for stability. Richard was the perfect storm. He wrapped his pain in charm and his intentions in patience. Within months, they were dating. 6 months later, they married in a quiet courthouse ceremony. No friends, no family. Just Richard and Rachel and a judge who thought the man with kind eyes looked like someone who'd been hurt too often. At first, Richard was everything she thought he'd be. Caring, gentle, supportive. But soon, the gentleness turned into concern. The concern morphed into control. And control became something far darker. He discouraged her from working. Said he made enough for both of them. He insisted on handling the bills. Suggested they switch to a joint account. "So we're connected," he'd said with a smile. Soon, he started tracking her calls. Then her car. Then her location through her phone. "I'm just protective," he told her when she questioned it. "I've already lost 3 people I loved." Rachel found herself isolated from everyone she once leaned on. Friends stopped calling. Her sister, Lily, left angry voicemails about being shut out. Rachel stopped replying. She didn't know how to explain what she couldn't fully understand. One night, she dropped a plate. It shattered. Richard looked at her, then slowly knelt beside the pieces. "Melissa used to drop things," he said with a smile. "She got clumsy near the end." Rachel froze. He kissed her cheek. Detective Ruiz had seen a lot in her years, but there was something about Rachel's case that burrowed under her skin. She began digging. Jessica Marston Harlan died in a single-vehicle crash outside Ashland, Oregon. Immediate cremation. No toxicology. Amanda Lee Harlan drowned while hiking in Sedona, Arizona. Cause of death: accidental fall into canyon stream. Cremated. Melissa Harper Harlan, death listed as blunt force trauma due to fall. Closed casket funeral. Signed off by a small-town coroner, who happened to be a fishing buddy of Richard's father. Each wife had died within 18 months of marrying Richard. No one connected the dots. Different states. Different timelines. No fingerprints. Just grief. Beautiful, believable grief. Ruiz reached out to Amanda's sister in Tucson. She'd always had doubts. She hated hiking, the sister said. Was afraid of water. She couldn't even swim. Jessica's family had insisted on burial, but when Ruiz called Ashland County's clerk, the secretary said something strange. "There was never a burial. We have a plot on record, but it's empty. No casket delivery ever logged." Rachel tried to leave. 3 times. The first time, she packed a duffel bag and ran to a friend's house. Richard showed up the next morning with flowers and a story. Rachel was having a mental breakdown, he said. "She has these episodes." Her friend believed him. The second time, she bought a bus ticket to Ohio and vanished. Richard canceled her debit cards. Called every hotel in a 50-mile radius pretending to be her brother. She was found broke and shaking at a rest stop in Dayton. The third time, she made it to a women's shelter, but left after 2 days. Her rib was cracked. Her lip split. She told the nurse she fell. She always said she fell. Now she had Ruiz. And a plan. If you can get him to talk, we'll have enough to take him down, Ruiz said. But you need to be careful. Rachel returned to the house under the pretense of forgiveness. Richard was thrilled. They went out for dinner. He danced with her in the living room. Told her he'd missed her like breath. But at night, when the lights went out, she felt the weight of his eyes watching her as she slept. On the 5th night, he poured whiskey and sat beside her on the couch. Jessica tried to leave too, he said casually. She thought she'd outsmart me. You know how hard it is to break someone's neck in a car crash without anyone noticing? Not that hard. Rachel nearly dropped her glass. But she didn't flinch. The next night, he bragged about Amanda. She slipped, he said with a smirk. Or maybe she was pushed. I don't remember. Rachel recorded it all. Hidden microphones sewn into her camisole. Live transmission fed to a surveillance van 4 blocks down. At 5:46 a.m., Richard Harlan was arrested. He didn't resist. He didn't ask why. He just smiled. Inside the home, police found a hidden crawlspace under the garage. Inside, 3 boxes. Box 1, Amanda's locket and old postcards. Box 2, Melissa's diary, pages torn and rewritten. Box 3, a velvet pouch with teeth, one with a gold crown Jessica's sister had paid for just months before her death. In a locked freezer, they found a sealed bag of hair, braided, labeled by date. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Rachel testified first. She described the manipulation, the gaslighting, the way he weaponized kindness. The jury listened in stunned silence as audio played of Richard's confessions. Jessica's father collapsed while testifying. Amanda's sister wept while showing photos. Melissa's cousin brought her wedding video, showing Richard staring blankly as Melissa smiled beside him. Richard showed no remorse, no emotion, until the sentence was read. 3 life sentences. No possibility of parole. Then he looked at Rachel and said, "You think this ends with me?" Security dragged him away before he said another word. Rachel moved 3 states away and changed her name. She volunteers now working nights at a shelter for battered women. She tells her story quietly, never fully revealing the details. Sometimes she wakes up breathless, unsure where she is. Sometimes she sleeps with the light on. She hasn't dated in over a year. But every now and then she looks in the mirror and whispers, "I made it out." And that is enough. Because 3 women didn't. If your partner had lost 3 previous spouses under mysterious circumstances, would you stay and trust they were just unlucky? Or would you dig deeper, even if it meant uncovering something terrifying? Why do you think it took a 4th woman, and nearly her death, for someone to finally listen? What does that say about how society responds to women's fear and trauma? How many killers are still walking free hiding behind charm, grief, and well-crafted lies, just because no one questioned their perfection?